Good evening, friends. Welcome back to my channel, Intraday Trade. My name is Robin, and let's do a Nifty and Bank Nifty analysis for tomorrow. So today, both Nifty and Bank Nifty opened gap up, and also it sustained, and the upside move continued. So we discussed in our yesterday's video in the long-term analysis and the weekly analysis that the upside is definitely possible. The only problem that we saw was the index shorts that FIs were still holding. But at the same time, we discussed that, in case if they start covering their shorts, so we expected a figure of around 15,000 plus shorts to be covered today. And also, if this continues and the total shorts fall below 50,000, which was more than 1 lakh yesterday, we discussed that this upside can continue further. Also, on the basis of the technical analysis based on Elliott wave theory and the Fibonacci retracement tool, we still know that there is a small downside which is still left, which could be the last pain of the fall. So that probability still remains. But for now, we thought that the market should continue its upside. So we discussed that Nifty can even go until 17,000, and let's hope that we see that figure, because we'll definitely try to catch all the dips, and we'll try to book the profits on the higher side. So right now, what's happening in Nifty and Bank Nifty? What can we expect tomorrow? So this is the weekly chart of Nifty. Why I opened a weekly chart is because we moved today, so definitely there is a scope that we are somewhere close to a strong resistance. So this was a weekly high, okay? So this was last week high, and then we have another high, which is the previous week high. So let's look at them. What are the exact figures? So one is 16,275 and the other one is 16,248. So let's write them down: 16,275 and 16,248. And where Nifty has closed? 16,278. Okay, so somewhere close to this level and not very far from this level. So usually what happens is a weekly high or a weekly low is not breached that easily. So lows can be breached quite comfortably, but sometimes a weekly high is difficult for the market to break, especially when it is coming from a very low levels. So what it does is, before taking out each and every weekly high, it will consolidate at that place for a day, and then the next day it gives the breakout. So that's how it continues to move. So in this case, I still feel that Nifty can spend time here for tomorrow, and then it can give its breakout to this particular level, which is around 16,400. So eventually the first target is 16,400, and once we sustain above 16,400 is when we'll approach 16,800 and then 17,000. Okay, so this is what I want to discuss. So looks like tomorrow we may see a non-trending market, as it is the VIX is falling day by day. So when VIX is falling means there is no fear in the market, or the fear is reducing. So when the fear is reducing, people prefer to invest in the cash market. So normally the dips are usually bought, and the market continues or sustains to be on the higher level. So usually when the VIX is falling, market is usually bullish or it is sideways. Okay, so we will not see these kind of fear until and unless our VIX reaches 22 plus. So similarly in Bank Nifty, so this is the weekly high. This happens to be, I think, 35,500 or something, 35,543. So let's consider 35,550. So tomorrow we may attempt this level maybe with a gap up or maybe with a flat opening and then going and touching it. So we can still expect the market to be within this range, and then eventually once we cross this particular level, the next attempt would be this, which is 36,000. Okay, so possibly we may see a sideways market, but in case if it's trending, then we would like to definitely catch that particular trend. So let's discuss the data, and then we'll go down to a smaller time frame to discuss the levels for tomorrow. So what FIs have done, they have closed some of their long positions, not a huge number, though it was in profit, but still they closed a little quantity. And if we look at the shorts, we expected more than 15,000 and it is already around 17,292. So this is a good sign. Okay, so good sign, but this needs to continue. So not every time they'll short cover their positions for losses. Whenever they see a dip, they'll initiate that short covering. So we need to see the numbers in the coming days, which would slowly gradually reduce the pain that is there in the index future shorts. And similarly, if you look at pros, they have created long positions. Good to see that. And they have also added some shorts. So this is not a significant number. So this could be like a hedge for the longs that they added. If we look at the options, FIs are net long on the call side. That means, which indicates that some more momentum is still pending on the upside. So tomorrow if they open with a gap up, so there is a high possibility we may sustain the gap up for some time till the time they book this profit. And they're also short on the put side. So this is a good indication, and we know that the options usually acts first. So we need to be bullish even for tomorrow. So in case of any dip that we get, we'll definitely look for buying opportunity. And similarly, if you look at pros, they are short on calls. So not a very huge number, but definitely they have created a strong support in the index. So they have 1,67,000 put short. So we know that uh, if the market has to come down, definitely it will, people would, or especially the pros and FIs would defend the position because they have put shorts. So we need to keep in mind that whatever dip that we get, we'll use it to go long. So overall, the data is definitely bullish and the market is also bullish, and we should focus on taking a bullish trade only. So let's move back to a smaller time frame, 15 minutes. Let me activate the lines. So this is how market traveled, respected each and every level. And so right now we are standing at or staring at somewhere close to 35,400, and this level is something which is the weekly high. Okay, so let me keep it black and I'll make it thicker so that I remember that this is a weekly high. So what are the places that we should think of buying? So below 35,200 will not really go for long position because the market can travel sideways here between 35,200 and 35,000. So we may not want to buy any options here until and unless if it comes to this place around 35,000, here you can buy a call. Okay, tomorrow imagine that we open with a small gap down. Okay, let's see, it opens around 300 or 250. Then we'll wait for a dip until this place, and we'll want the market to reverse from here. Okay, so once you see a reversal, you can definitely buy a call at 35,200, and we would expect a target of 35,500. Okay, so I think eventually FIs would also want to book their calls here if they are long in the calls. And in case of a small dip, why I'm talking about a small gap down or a dip is basically looking at the call longs and the put shorts. Pros may also want to, you know, get rid of the call shorts that they have. So in case just if we see a small gap down and if it gives a dip, they would immediately book their call shorts and they would stay with the put shorts, and then the market may slow and steadily go higher, and this could be a place for people to book the profits. So we may see a sideways market maybe the entire day, or at least for the first half, and then we'll see if it gives a breakout during the second half. We may look to trade that level too. What if market opens with this gap up? Say the gap up is around 35,500, then there is not much of a scope that remains, and I would not even look for a trade on the downside, because that is just about 200 250 points, and it will not come in a sharp way that it gives profit to us. So what it will do is it will just try to, give a dip like this and trade something like this, a dip like this. So a complete sideways market we can expect if we open with a gap up around 35,500 or 550. So 35,500, like since that's a weekly resistance, people may do a short straddle tomorrow at 35,500, expecting that the market will not break that level on the same day. Any gap down below 35,200, we already discussed, it could be a sideways market. So if we get a dip around at 35,000, we'll initiate a call here for a target of 35,200, or even we can attempt 35,350 or 400. Okay, so this is my view on Bank Nifty. So we are definitely not going to buy a put. I did not discuss any put trade. We only discussed call, but that too in the areas where it should or where we should really buy the call. And in case of Nifty, so Nifty, we discussed that the next resistance is 16,400. Right now, the level that it closed, we know that we have two weekly resistances, and we did not give a very strong close expecting that the Nifty will just fly to 16,400. So we may expect Nifty to be sideways in this range also, and then we may see a breakout maybe on a Wednesday. But since we discussed that we should buy the dip, so if we see Nifty coming back to what is this level exactly? 16,230. Okay, so if we get a dip until 16,230, we would definitely buy a call here for a target of 16,300. Okay, so not a very big target for tomorrow, because already we made a very good move today, and also we have a big gap up at this side. So if Nifty moves tomorrow immediately after the open, like if it opens flat and immediately breaks the high and it's traveling to that level, then very soon you may see Nifty, coming back to fill these spaces, because then there would always be a fear of, booking the profits. But if the market has to sustain on the upside, we always need fresh buyers coming in and holding their positions, and not the old buyers who are already holding their profits. So that is quite risky. So that's why I'm telling you that if we spend time near these weekly highs, at least for tomorrow, and that could be possible if we open with a slight gap down, and we may see market consolidating. And then if it gives a breakout, that breakout can sustain for a longer time. So we discussed that the best place to buy Nifty would be around 16 to 30. And other than that, I'm not really interested for a flat opening and a breakout on the upper side. I would rather trade Bank Nifty. But again, for both of them, the upside scope seems to be limited, at least for tomorrow. So we may see some consolidation happening. And that's how, like, we'll plan maybe a straddle or a strangle tomorrow. A directional trade could be a bit of confusion tomorrow. And any big gap down, say if there's any bad news globally, so below 16,200, I think Nifty would underperform, like it will go sideways here. And in Nifty, at least, we will not take any short trade, as well as in Bank Nifty. Like, not really interested in a short trade until and unless everything changes globally and we are aware about it. Okay, so tomorrow we'll only plan to buy a call for any dip that we get. So upside, not interested, but in case of a dip, definitely will go long. So that's all about the analysis for tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Let's meet in another video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.